Okay. So now you're on video, Richard. So anyway, recording is on. So what do you call it? It's the first time I've ever done it on my laptop. So I'm actually down at the community center because we'll be starting a CE class at 10 o'clock. I didn't want to have to pack up and try and leave at 9:30 to get here and get set up. So I'm down at the so I've never done it on my laptop. I'm actually talking on my phone. I usually do it on my headset with the computer at home. But anyway, let's get started. So we only have a handful of people on the call. I know some people are heading down to they're going to be heading down to the CE class, or they're on their phone, or they may just listen to the recording later. So, but tell me some wins. Let's share some wins. I know Robin's on the call. Robin.
Okay, I'll tell you a win. Rob told us to reach out to 3 people a day. I did that last week, and I have a listing appointment this weekend because of it. So that was pretty cool.
How cool is that? How cool is that? Called 3 people, set a listing appointment. I mean, that's, you got to love that. Anybody else have any wins? So we have a light call today. Not that many people. So anybody else? Anybody have any what do you call it? Challenges? Any challenges? Did anybody struggle with trying to make 3 calls? 3. How about, did anybody do any of the 3 text messages asking, hey, I have a buyer having a real hard time finding a home for. Who do you know that may be considering selling their home? Has anybody tried that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Any responses?
Nothing real positive other than we will let you know when someone comes to mind.
Right.
So
and that's all. Yeah, you're still getting your name in front of them. It's a form of marketing. It's a form of prospecting. Remember, calling and texting these people is just to keep your name in front of them. It's also to train their brain to notice people that they know, that they already know. See, people know people that are moving. They're just not paying attention. And they when they hear of somebody moving, they don't go, oh, let me think, Richard. Oh, yeah, Richard. No, they just hear of somebody moving, and they go, oh, that's it. And that's all they think about. So we need to so the continual marketing, the continual prospecting starts to train their brain so that when they hear of somebody moving, they call you. I mean, that's the whole purpose, right? That's the goal of the SOI type of marketing, so that when they do hear of somebody that's moving, they'll actually call you. So, because right now they hear people moving and they don't give it a second thought of who should they call. I mean, it's not even on our radar to call somebody. So
I had a potential listing. It was on the FSBO. Made a direct call with them, and they agreed to meet with me. So it was off KSL. So I took their pictures on KSL and created a flyer and took about 10 or 15 of them to the appointment with me 5 o'clock last night and met with them in Murray. And they were very impressed with the flyer. They allegedly had a family member who was an agent, but so I don't know. The reception was warm, but we'll see what happens. But again, I took.
Yeah, you never know.
Idea. Pardon?
You never know. You just the more people you talk to, the more chances you create for opportunities, right? I mean, because if you don't get up, if you don't swing, I mean, if you don't, what Wayne Gretzky quote, we talked about it before. I mean, his nickname was called the Great One. I mean, so when the Great One speaks, I mean, think about it. His quote is, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." So. He was just famous for taking shots. And I mean, he scored. So when he came in the league, I mean, to give you an idea how great he was, if you scored like 30 goals in a year as an offensive player, you could play for any team in the league would come after you. If you had 50 goal scorers were rare. I mean, they were like the rare guy, right? Wayne Gretzky came in the league and scored 100 goals. So 30 was like amazing. 50 was like virtually unheard of. And then he came along and just shattered the way the game was played. I mean, so he was the great one. So, so if anybody knows about scoring, or achieving, it's him. It's Wayne Gretzky. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So the idea is you have to put yourself in a position to where you have more opportunities to shoot the puck, right? And that is, i.e., talking to people. So the more people you talk to, the more opportunities you have. The more opportunities you have, the more buyers or sellers you can contract with, and then do more transactions, right? Mike Ferry said it's so simple. He says if you want to list more houses, you have to talk to more people. I mean, it is that simple. So texting, and then remember, anybody you talk to, send them a handwritten thank you card, right? So don't forget to send them a thank you card and say, hey, it was great talking to you, and throw a couple business cards in there, right? So any challenges somebody would like to share? Any struggles? Or how about something you learned? Anybody learn anything? Well, I'm either going to have to do these calls either in the afternoon or on a Monday morning. You guys got hello. It's like hello. Is anybody on the call? So anyway, so what are your thoughts? I mean, what are your thoughts on? Let's say I want to ask Robin point blank. So Robin, how do you feel about making calls? Hello, you still there, Robin?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. My mute button.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Good.
Obviously, I think sometimes you get lucky. The first week I was able to get a listing appointment. But I think the point of it is, if you're always doing that, you're always going to get lucky sometimes.
Right.
And I do think there's that top of mind, And I think especially text messages are so easy, or just quick emails, whether it's just Happy New Year, or hey, how you doing, or a newsletter that you do, or just anything. It's that top of mind. To your point that when people, it only takes one time of somebody getting a referral gift from you, a gift card or whatever, and they're going to remember real quick to refer you the next time again. So
absolutely. That's why I like sending cash. Nothing like opening up a card and there's a 20 or a 50 inside.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter what income bracket you're in. Everybody loves free. Period.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Just refer you, and then your only job is just to do a good job, so that they don't, so they want to refer you again, because they will pause if you don't do it.
Right. Then even the person you did a good job for, now they're in your referral potentials.
Absolutely. You just keep adding to that pool.
Right. The key is to talk to your database a minimum 3 to 4 times a year. I like the idea of sending 3 to 4 handwritten cards a year, and then a monthly mailer. If you do a monthly statistic, I mean, you could do a quarterly newsletter where, when I say newsletter, I'm talking about 11 by 17 that's folded in half and then folded in half again. I mean, there's a lot of labor intensity with those, but because they have to be folded twice. I mean, OfficeMax has a machine where they can fold them twice. The only thing is you have to take them home and put the wafer seals on them. OfficeMax does not have a wafer seal machine. But you'd have to take them home. But if you did it once a quarter, I mean, a nice, 8.5 by 11, that's 4 pages of information. But if you did that once a quarter and did a big chart of information and have a couple of this, a little of that, some cool things in there about real estate, really what's going on in the local market. And I used to do the monthly, and then we always would write articles depending on the season. So January, talk about, hey, here's, people start thinking about selling their home in this time of year. Talk about, okay, if you're thinking about selling a home, what's the first thing you got to do? You got to, decide whether to sell it. find out, get in front of a lender. So basically, I was training them. Then February's was like, hey, if you're thinking about selling your home, you got to start making a list of what it is you need to do to your house to get it ready for sale, things like that. So each month, I would actually have a something I was actually guiding them and getting them prepared to sell their home. And then, and then as the fall, then the school's out, we talk about that. People like to sell, be careful, kids are on the road. People tend to sell during this time of year. And then after fall, it was always talking about selling your house somehow or another. And I had call to actions throughout. If you're looking for your home value, go here. If you want to search for your dream home, go here. But if you could do that once a quarter, if you did a newsletter once a quarter, if you talk to them once a quarter, and you send them a handwritten card once a quarter, I promise you, your referrals will grow exponentially. But the key, if I could only pick one, so let's talk about that. Handwritten cards, newsletter once a quarter, phone call and text message once a quarter. If I could only pick one, it would be phone calls. But if you do them all, in other words, you could do the other three and you'll get business, but you add the phone call and you will see the referrals grow exponentially. You cannot skip the phone calls. Everybody wants to skip the phone calls. Everybody wants to have this. And you notice in that whole thing, I never said email. The reason why is emails don't get read enough. You could send emails, but I wouldn't count them. Personally, I wouldn't count emails as one of your touches just because the open rate is so low that even if they opened it, then if they read it, they're like supplements. But I wouldn't consider them as part of your main, that's like garnish on a plate to me. It's not part of the meal. It's just there to look pretty because they just, and I'm not saying you can't make a living off of the email. However, most of you don't have a database large enough to make email work. If 12% of people opening up your email and you only got 100 people, you're getting 12 emails. Now, does that mean, it's impossible to get business out of that? No. I just don't like those numbers. 95% of the people are going to read their text message. I'll guarantee you 100% of the people are going to open up their handwritten card sent to them. Guarantee that. So those are the reasons why I stick to that. And if you actually call and get them on the phone and talk to them, well, obviously you knew. They may not answer. If they don't answer, send them a text. Send them a card. Say, hey, I tried to get a hold of you. So, but if somebody sends you a referral, then you immediately, put a crisp $20 bill or a $50 bill in a card and mail it to them. Man, think about that. If you went home today and you opened up the mail, and because you sent a referral out to somebody, and you came home and you opened up a card and there was a 50 in there, you'd be like, yeah, man. The impact that has is amazing. It's amazing. Not only is it monetarily cool, people dig, and like you said, Robin, I don't care what income bracket you are, you get a 20 or 50, you're going to fold that thing up, put it right in your pocket and say, yeah, baby. Yeah. And I don't care. It doesn't matter the bracket, it doesn't matter. And the other thing is, remember, when you were a kid and you got a card from your grandmother or an aunt, that had like $1 in it. So how cool was that when you were a kid? You couldn't wait. That experience and that time of your life was so awesome that when they open up that card and they see that money, they don't even realize it, but they're actually accessing that past experience, and you are now positioning yourself inside the back of their mind at one of the coolest places in history, in their history. Right? That you're associating yourself psychologically, and they're not even aware of the association, but you're connecting yourself to their birthday. And what kid didn't like their birthday getting a card, with $1 in it? So you're actually deep psychologically attaching yourself into that position, into their world. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot more going on than just the money.
Can I add?
And who doesn't? Yeah, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, the other thing, too, is in Utah, I feel like every third person is a real estate agent or a real estate broker. There's just a lot of us, right? So
right.
Those little things I think we do, I think when you do something that's different, it kind of makes people pause and go, oh.
Absolutely.
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 Really. But, you know, I was talking to my partner. I don't know if Danae's on the call, but one of the things I was saying to her that I try to do that has worked really well is I always try to think of new news. So, for example, like,
Right.
because I think a lot of times we don't reach out, so it's like, oh, what do we say? What do we, you know, like, seems kind of weird. So I always just try to go like, hey, new news. So, like, right now, interest rates are really low compared to what they've been.
Yeah, they've actually come down in the last month or so.
You know, this is a good way to make a phone call to say, hey, I don't know if you've been watching interest rates, but they're really good right now.
Right.
Moving, it'd be great to get an interest rate locked in while they're still low because they will go up. So that's
right.
New news. And I also think, you know, if I get a listing, like this listing appointment I'm going on this weekend is a really, really important one to me. I talked to Rob about this, not because of the volume of, you know, what I'll make on the property, but it's because it's in an area that I really, really would like to start working in. And I've had a couple of opportunities up in this area to be able to work. And this is actually somebody I met at an open house on the first one I got up in the area. So this would be a big deal. But the thing is, when I got the second one, I immediately called, when I was holding the open house for the second one, I called everybody I met on the first one and said, hey, I'm holding an open house down the street. You know, we staged this home. I helped design this home. I'd love for you to stop by and visit. Gave them the address. One of these people did stop by. And, you know, if I get this listing, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to call everybody that I contacted on both of the first two properties to kind of say, hey, new news. Hey, I've got another listing. I'd love for you to stop by. We're holding an open house. And it's kind of just an excuse to be able to say something to them, you know?
Right.
And at the same time, they kind of go, well, she does a lot of work here. I really don't yet. But, you know, in their mind, they're probably going to think that because they're not really paying attention who does a lot of work in that.
Right.
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 So it's just, you just have to think of like new news to be able to tell people, and that's the reason for the call. So.
And it's interest rates being low is a good reason to call. If interest rates start to go up, it's another good reason to call. Say, hey, rates are starting to go up, but if you're going to do it now, right? So you can say the same thing. Hey, rates are down, so if you're going to do it now. Rates are going up. Hey, you better do what you're doing now. It doesn't matter which way the news is. I mean.
Yeah.
So just call them and just call. And you know, one of the things we used to do, when I was calling back, I would go in the MLS and I would find what I consider to be like a smoking deal, at least on paper. You know, it could be a dump of a house, but if it made sense, like as a good rental property, right? I would literally call my list and say, hey, you know what, I just came across this property that would make a great rental property. And I was wondering, who do you know that may be considering investing in real estate? And they go, geez, I can't think of anybody, you know. I'm like, well, how about you? Have you ever considered buying rental property? And you go, well, you know, we've considered it. You know, well, what's stopping it? I mean, it's just a reason to talk to them. And I would I would call through. You know, that's just a great reason to call your SOI, because you're not calling them, asking them for business per se. You're calling them up with an opportunity. Say, hey, there's a great rental property. If you're ever considered investing in real estate, build it for your future. I came across a house that could make a great rental property. Now, the odds at 99.9%, nobody's going to buy it on that call. Nobody. I mean, you're not going to sell that house. But you're having this real estate conversation with them. And if you, like I said, if you add that real estate conversation along with the handwritten cards, the text messages, the newsletter once a quarter or a monthly postcard, you know, you combine all that stuff, I promise you referrals will start coming. But it takes a good while. And the calls are the key. Again, I can't put enough emphasis on this. The calls are the key. The people that make the calls make more money than the people that don't make the calls. It is plain and simple. It has been proven over and over and over and over and over and over that it is about making the calls. So, anybody have any struggles? I know I asked that, but I didn't really get any answers. So anybody have any struggles making calls with the people?
Actually,
if you have struggles, right. I mean, you know.
We're a texting society. It's very difficult to make phone calls, but,
right.
You know, it is a struggle for everyone. Struggle for me.
Right. But, I mean, the thing is, and that's why I say just make 3 calls a day. I mean, it's like, come on, you can do it. You know what I mean? It's like, adults up. I don't know if man up is the right word when I'm speaking to a woman, but adults up, right? Woman up. Let me hear you roar. So, but the idea is though, but if you call, and the key, most of the times people don't like to call is because they don't know what to say. And and that once you have something valid to say, the calls are a lot easier. Hey, I just want to let you know, rates are down,
That's the new news.
Hey.
You have a reason to call. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great reason to call. And then, just tell them, So, hey, just ask them. I mean, but, finding a nice little rental property, like I said, the odds are great. They're not going to buy it. But you never know who they know. You just never know who they know. They say,
It's true.
So anyway, any other thoughts, questions, concerns, hallucinations about the whole process of extracting referrals from your SOI? If not, I'm going to go ahead and end the call. So it's kind of a quiet call today, but that's okay. I heard somebody beeping. I don't know if they left. Yep, somebody left. So, but unless you got any calls, I'm going to go ahead and end the call right now. But I hope everybody has a great day. And for those of you that are on their way to the CE class, I'll see you here when you get here.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye.